This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Da, 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 da. The Galactic Empire has been chasing the Starship Booza, chased by the little one and the big one, trying to destroy this homeschool. So today, welcome back to Homeschool Together. Hello. And we are going to be talking a little bit about Star Wars.
Star Wars and Homeschool.
Everybody's favorite thing. So
we love Star Wars in this house.
We are a big Star Wars
We are
family.
not Trekkies. We are totally Star Wars
Yes.
folks in this house. We are Disney and Star Wars,
We
not
just got
Star
our-
Trek and Looney Tunes.
We just got our Clone Wars badge. We just finished the entire series.
Right. If you have not watched Clone Wars, it is very good. And
It's
not just for kids. I mean, it's like a good show.
I
I mean, we watched it with our kids. I'm not saying that. I just mean like, I thought it was just going to be a silly cartoon. It was actually very good.
I'm honestly, you watch the first couple episodes and it's a little hit and miss, and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I like the animation style, if I don't know if I like this, the whole like ambiance of the show, and it's just I don't know if I'm going to get into this. And then all of a sudden you get locked in.
It's really good.
And then there's remember the one episode about they had that like storming of Geonosis.
Yeah, Geonosis.
Oh my god, it was like watching
It was the battle for Geonosis. I think
it was the
what
battle for
called.
Geonosis. The first like 5 or 6, 7 minutes.
It was like Saving Private Ryan, Star
one
Wars.
continuous shot as you were moving through the spaceships, as they were landing through the dust, and stormtroopers are getting shot, and
That was great.
lightsabers are everywhere, and
it was
Jedi
cool.
are. Oh my god, it was one of the best. I mean, I would say that is one of the best scenes in all of Star Wars canon. Like, I would
was really, really
struggle to find a better scene. Anyway, so what we were talking about today is not necessarily just Star Wars and what we love about Star Wars, but how can Star Wars be used as a homeschool tool, right?
Right. Since our kids also really love Star Wars, we were like, how can we leverage this?
And one of the things that we have been doing is not just understanding that there's a lot of video content, which there is, if you're watching, the Clone Wars or the Bad Batch or any of the, the Rebels show, or even just the movies in general, there's a lot of video content. But what is, I think, missed about the Star Wars canon is the fact that about 80% of all the canon of Star Wars is written media. And there's books, comic books. There are secondary materials like phonics books, early reader books.
Right.
There's so much content.
There is tons. We have a lot of like step into reading books that are Star Wars. We have little golden Star Wars books that our youngest loves for us to read to her for bed each night.
Yeah.
There's a whole series of Star Wars workbooks that work on reading and math and all kinds of things. And they have all of the animated Star Wars characters in them. And we'll link all these in the show notes because our kids absolutely love all of the Star Wars workbooks.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get those Star Wars workbooks, by the way, on Book Outlet. I have seen them there many a time, and you can get them for even just a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
They are great. So we've really leveraged this since our kids love Star Wars so much. Getting those early readers, our older daughter reads, reading the little golden books to our younger daughter.
Yep.
Our older daughter is getting into the Jedi Academy graphic novel series.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of a cartoonish version of Luke and Leia going to school.
Yeah.
And all of their...
Definitely not in the canon, but it is.
No, not at all.
It's fun and humorous.
Right. And so these things are all kind of adjacent, but there's so much great Star Wars content that you can leverage for reading and math and things. But then recently you have found the huge list of actual Star Wars canon.
The order, yeah.
Of the order of between the novels and the graphic novels, and you've been listening to audiobooks with it, and there is a lot there. So if you have a child who really loves Star Wars, depending on their age, you can start with little golden books for the youngest ones, early readers. There's workbooks to go. I think
books. There's
those workbooks go all the way through
yeah.
like 6th grade, I want to say.
It's unbelievable. And then
they're great.
There's full-on novels that are 300-400 pages long. I mean,
yeah,
you can have the novelizations of the movie that are like 150 pages, super easy, like middle grade reading level. Or you can get into Timothy Zahn books, the Thrawn series that he wrote in the 90s that are just, really, really
which
good.
is like post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, post Return of the Jedi.
But still includes like Luke and Leia, Han and Chewie and all that.
They're all in there. It's what they should make the next 3 movies on.
Instead of having gone all the way to Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens. They should just retcon that out and then drop in the Thrawn series, and I think that would be widely accepted as like amazing, right?
Yeah, it's really good. So, we wanted to just
and
do
those are
this,
full-on novels. Those are 450 pages
and they're
long.
really good.
Yeah.
So we wanted to just say, if you've got kids that like Star Wars, or you love Star Wars and you want to get your kids into Star Wars, that whatever age your kids are coming into
they
it,
have something for you.
There's a piece of material that you can use and you can leverage into your homeschooling to help with reading, or to read as bedtime stories, or listen as audiobooks when you drive in the car.
Yeah.
And we'll list, we'll link all these resources and the full canon list that we found, which is a really great graphic if you want to keep that, and you can work through that as a family. Like you're starting at the very beginning, and you're working through all of it. We as a family have finished Clone Wars, and we're now into the Bad Batch, and we're going to move through all of the media on it, the video content that exists in order. And our kids are really getting into it, and they love doing the workbooks.
And they like they like the workbooks. They like the reading. They love all the literature around it. But also, the shows are really good, especially around the Clone Wars. They talk about a lot of like complex emotional issues.
Yeah, they do.
The whole Ahsoka arc is probably the greatest arc I would say in all of Star Wars, even better than Luke's arc. It's
pretty good.
I think Ahsoka's arc is probably the best, and I mean, obviously it took 9 seasons to do it, and she's missing in like 30% of all the episodes, but her arc all the way to the end is so satisfying and so good, and the relationships and the tensions, and you learn a lot of life skills through these type of shows that are so well done, especially the Clone Wars. I don't know why they did it, but it was out of order. And you have an order list that you follow.
Right, yeah, you have to be really careful about that.
We watched the Clone Wars in order, and it's such a great series. And they, because when Ahsoka's at the beginning, she's like a little Padawan. She's like young. She's, very talented and stuff, but, she's like a kid in some respects. And by the end, she's a grown woman. And she makes
lots of independence, lots of agency.
Lots of agency, and she grows, and she acquires clothes along the way. That was kind of the funny thing we noticed.
I kept going, put more clothes on.
Yeah, every season she gets slapped a little bit longer shirt, a little bit more. Anyways, we always laughed at that, but these type of things is these characters. Our daughters looked up to Ahsoka Tano, right? And
she wants to be Ahsoka Tano for Halloween.
Halloween, right? And they love Ahsoka, and they grow with her, and they when she I don't want to do any spoilers, but there were some issues at the end of the final season that happened around Ahsoka, and our daughters were like really like oh my gosh, what's going to happen to Ahsoka?
Yeah, they were very invested.
They were very invested.
We've seen all of it, so we'll definitely link. There's a page on the Star Wars homepage about the proper order to watch those shows in, because if you do want to embark on the Clone Wars, which we highly recommend, we loved it with our two children, then you want to watch it in the right order.
It made movie 2 and 3, the prequels, so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, it really fleshed that out.
If you can get out there and find the no cheese edits of the first 3 movies, those are enjoyable too. There's some fan edits of the first 3 movies.
Yeah, that take out some of the
cheesiness.
The cheesiness.
The late night Lucas comedy skits. Take them out.
So that's it for this short bite. We just wanted to talk a little bit about our love of Star Wars, and if your family's also into it, the ways you can put it into your homework.
Yeah, really consider it. Yeah, it's a big consideration. It can be a big piece of.
I think it's really interesting too to show storytelling from that perspective, right? This grand scale, and how you tell effective stories. And I know that I think that it's helped our daughter to be a bit more creative in her own,
and think bigger too, because the Star Wars universe is absolutely gigantic, and there's so many different races of aliens, and there's so many different types of people, and there's so many different motivations and worlds, and it's so immense that they can really get lost in this world and think of something for themselves, and imagine themselves being in that place. So I really love it. It's really expansive, and really can grab your attention.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook, and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time.
Happy homeschooling!